314-569-10.
Least of her problems, Heidi had to fight for every opportunity.
You know, Heidi is, even though she's very kind of sweet and innocent,
Heidi wanted out of the slum, and her agent wasn't doing enough.
Oh my God, they moved Heidi right next to me now.
Although Heidi seems serene,
she's a bit naughty.
she uses an ancient folk remedy to help calm her down.
Heidi is back.
Well, hello and happy Wednesday, everybody. Heidi Glaus here with Josh Gilbert. Bob Ramsey still out on vacation. Joe over doing most of the work on the buttons over there. We've got a jam-packed show, one that I hope will keep you informed and at least slightly entertained. First up, with the Sean Diddy Combs verdict coming down, I thought it might be a good time to just remember a few things about domestic violence, because there are so many people suffering and a lot doing it in silence. And then also, as you look back at this trial, a lot of people pointing fingers at Cassie, the ex-girlfriend. So we're going to talk to the co-founder and executive director of the Angel Band Project, which really is there for the victims of domestic violence. And just a few reminders about, if you're a family member or a friend, what to look for, how to kind of handle that, and what a high-profile trial like this does to a victim. So that's coming up at 3:30. We'll also check in with Jordana Miller, who's in Jerusalem. It looks like Hamas wants to bargain, but Netanyahu kind of pushing back. President Trump says that they've agreed to a ceasefire, so we'll get the latest on that. In the 4 o'clock, as always on Wednesday, Lauren Risley will be along to talk the housing market, and we'll also check in with Frank Cusimano. I don't know how he's carving out time for us, because he is one busy man.
He is off this afternoon.
Oh, he's not that busy.
So he will be joining us from the golf course.
Oh, he's getting in a few swings, is he?
Yes.
I think he's trying to practice so that he can possibly get closer to beating his daughter, because I'm pretty sure Brooke beat him the last time. So anyway, we'll talk about the U.S. men's national team coming to Energizer Park tonight. Yesterday was Bobby Bonilla Day, which is kind of crazy. We'll have him share that story.
And they call it the Mandela effect, where you misremember something that you were clearly sure happened. I thought Bobby Bonilla was a Cardinal, like in the early 90s.
I do not recall that.
It was, but Joe?
I believe he was a Cardinal for a short period of time.
But it was at the end of his career in 2000 or 2001. So at some point in his, it was him and Barry Bonds, and then he went to the Mets, and that's where he got this sweetheart deal where he gets paid
crazy
in perpetuity
for not playing.
Yeah,
I mean it's nuts. But we'll have Frank kind of break that down and also look at the Cardinals as well. In the 5 o'clock, I'm sure you guys have seen that Lululemon is now suing Costco over what they call dupes. And I guess this is something on TikTok and social media where people go out and they find these dupes. It's like you have a name brand, but if you can find a cheaper version of that, it's almost as if people are like clinging to those, not the expensive. They'll even go, even if they have the money, go find the dupe. But now Costco and Lululemon are kind of going at it. This seems like a tough one because a lot of clothes look the same. Is it as simple as changing a zipper to buttons? Is it making the collar slightly smaller? We're going to bring in a copyright and trademark attorney with Armstrong Teasdale to kind of give us the lay of the land when it comes to cases like this.
And we talked to her just recently when we were talking about what Aldi had thin wheat. Instead of wheat thins, they had thin wheat, and the boxes looked identical.
And the Oreos, and there were several different products.
Yes. So does the same rules apply to clothing? And I know there's a athleisure brand called Vuori, Vuori. Have you heard of it?
Of course.
My sister's walking around, and they have these special strings, and you could tell a Vuori pant when you see one. And I said, "Oh, I didn't know you were into these now too." And she goes, "I'm not. These came from Costco."
Yeah. So that could be the next lawsuit. Is that what I hear you saying?
I mean, Forever 21, wasn't their business model to just knock off the name brand styles and sell everything for $18?
If that's the case, I did not know that's what it was.
That's my understanding.
Oh, I shopped there when I could and was younger, but they're not in business anymore, are they?
I don't even know if they're around anymore.
Or they don't have at least stores here. We'll also check in with Royal Oaks, ABC News legal analyst on the Diddy verdict. What's next? I think there will be an announcement coming up at 4 o'clock, and we'll kind of monitor that and let you know what's going on. We also have some other entertainment news, and then we'll wrap this show up with some randoms. Couple people weighing in on the Woods Basement Systems text line, 84126. Bobby Bonilla was with the Cardinals. He was injured, and that opened the door for Albert Pujols.
Oh.
Somebody's saying that his last team was with the Cardinals. Is that true?
Yeah, that was his last team, and everybody.
I do not remember him being there, but maybe it was because he was injured.
3 different people saying Bobby Bonilla got injured or left, and that's what made room for Albert Pujols to come up, and the rest is history.
History, indeed.
I wonder who's going to make more money in their career, Albert Pujols or Bobby Bonilla.
I don't know.
Every July 1st, does Bonilla call Pujols and say, "Hey, man, I'm catching up. I'm catching up."
I doubt it, but who knows? We are approaching 4th of July, and I know a lot of people will be having parties or backyard picnics. And if you are throwing one of those bashes, a new poll found it will not be perfect unless it has all 4 of these things.
Oh, 4.
So
okay,
grab your pens and papers.
1, 2,
Yep.
3, 4.
Mm-hmm. This is one I kind of forgot, but it makes complete sense. You got to have the outdoor games.
Yep.
You have to have cornhole. You got to have washers if that's what you play with.
Guys, Can Jam.
Can Jam is fun.
It's a Frisbee trash can game.
Yeah.
Have you played that, Joe? Have you seen that?
No.
You throw the Frisbee and you try to slam it down into the trash can.
Or if you're really good at tossing a Frisbee, you can get it in the
little slot.
The little slot and get more points.
Can
But
Jam.
I think we'll go more with cornhole or washers.
What's the one with the golf balls on the string and you throw it at the PVC pipe? Ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's a good one, too. So you got to have the outdoor games. Check. You got to have great music. So make sure you have a playlist ready to go.
Is it all going to, it's going to be Miley Cyrus, Bruce Springsteen?
Party in the USA?
Yeah.
You know what? It can be whatever you want it to be.
Who's that gal, that country gal, Martina McBride, Independence Day?
That is not about our country.
No, it is not.
No, not at all. You got to have fireworks, and if it's not possible in your area because you don't want to break rules, then find a good fireworks display somewhere.
And I think I probably shouldn't even say this, but I think most municipalities allow the snakes and the
sparklers
and stuff like that. That's probably not true, though.
I don't know.
Just the little ones for the little kids.
Yeah, they're still dangerous.
The tanks where you light them and they dry for a little bit, and then
But again, still, you got to be very, very careful. I think it's so crazy when you talk about sparklers, and that's the one you hand little kids.
The most dangerous
one. It's very dangerous. Yeah, so you really got to be super careful. And then number 1, you got to have classic barbecue foods, not super fancy, but half of the people polled said they'd be bummed if it were things like burgers and hot dogs. You got to have some barbecue. I'm thinking baked beans, potato salad, as far as that goes as well.
I think baked beans might be top 5 of all foods. You know,
Really?
steak, tacos.
You know what's
pasta,
interesting, though?
baked
That's one of
beans.
those dishes that everybody makes differently. So I've gotten so used to my mom. I know she has brown sugar in there. They're sweeter. Baked beans, there are 1,000 different recipes.
My dad puts mustard in them.
Mustard in baked beans?
Oh, yeah. My sister-in-law does something called man beans, where it's like 3 different types of beans, a lot of brown sugar, bacon. Oh, it's so good.
Do you eat them hot all the time, or will you eat baked beans cold?
You know what? That's funny you should ask. Because I will eat baked beans hot when they come off the stove. And then after I pull them out of the fridge for the leftovers, I'll eat them cold. I'll eat
So
'em.
good.
Mhm.
It's one of those things that I think is maybe even better cold.
Cold pasta,
Yeah.
cold beans.
Here's an interesting one, too. As you go and you are with family and friends, are you cool? Do you feel like you're cool? Apparently, it comes down to 6 traits.
Wait. If I admit that I'm cool, doesn't that make me uncool?
One would think, but be honest.
I am not cool.
I think
No,
that
ma'am.
this is very interesting. The 6 traits that make us think someone is cool.
All right, now I got to start another list.
Yep. Yep. Extroverted.
Okay. I would say I'm a extroverted introvert or an introverted extrovert, but there's an extroversion there at
Yeah.
some point.
I mean, if you're at a party and you're not talking to anyone, probably
No,
not going to
yeah.
come off as super cool.
Well,
you know?
there was this one guy in high school who never talked to anybody, and he would listen to Bob Marley on his headphones, and he had long hair. And sometimes you see him walk in the neighborhood by himself, real loner type. He was super cool. And then I asked somebody, I said, "Whatever happened to him?" And they're like, "Oh, he works at Morgan Stanley." You know?
Oh.
It's like, I thought he was gonna, ride off on his motorcycle and disappear into the desert. No, he's got a 9-to-5 job.
I was going to say it's a pretty big job, though. He's rich.
Yeah.
All right, so you got to be extroverted. You got to be adventurous. You also have to be open, autonomous, hedonistic, which I think that one is interesting.
Interesting.
And then you got to have a little power.
Hedonist. Does it give a definition of hedonistic? Because that could spark a couple of different things.
No, it
right?
means you can enjoy yourself without feeling guilty about it.
There, okay.
You like to have fun.
Indulge. You can
Yes.
indulge a little bit.
Powerful means you're confident and don't let people push you around.
Okay. Autonomous, self-explanatory. You
You're
can get
independent.
by.
You don't try to fit in. You're just you.
Yeah.
And if none of those 6 traits fit you, it doesn't mean that you're not cool. It's just that you might not fit the cookie cutter definition of what cool means in this day and age of 2025.
Who do you think is the coolest person out there right now? Or classically, even Woods Basement Systems text line 84126. Classically,
When you think
I think
cool,
people think
what comes
James Dean.
Yeah.
I'll kick it off. James Dean, Clark Gable.
I think, and please don't, give me
No.
hell for this.
Yeah, we're
I think Barack
mature.
Obama comes off as really cool.
Well, yeah, he's pretty cool.
I
Pretty cool guy.
think the way he manages a room.
Oh, and he could talk like the wind.
Yeah.
Was Bill Clinton cool?
I think he had charisma. And I would say charisma probably needs to be on that list, but that
Number
maybe
7.
was a list from 2020, not 2025, if we were going to define cool.
George Clooney.
Definitely cool.
Right?
Yes.
Right? Brad Pitt, his buddy.
And I would say if we're going to go on the female side, Sandra Bullock.
Oh, you think she's cool?
Oh, yeah. Don't you?
I don't know if her name would have come up. I would say Charlize Theron. She is
Definitely. And I have
she
her
is
in the
cold as ice.
entertainment report.
She doesn't
Couple
care what
little-
anybody thinks.
No, she does not. And she basically is
Oh, yeah.
saying that in a new interview.
Did she speak out against the big wedding bash?
She spoke out against that. Then she is also speaking out about dating. She's got a lot to say right now because she's got a new movie. So
Where's some of the cool chicks out there? Oh, she's cool. Mm-hmm. All right, 84126. Who are the coolest people out there?
yeah, somebody says Pharrell Williams.
Yeah, he's
he
cool.
does come off as pretty cool. Somebody said, I have every one of those traits you mentioned. I've never been called cool. No. I've been called weird by many. I love that. So interesting. And then going back to the baked beans. Baked beans scooped up with waffle potato chips are the best. Ooh,
waffle.
Yeah.
Have you ever had waffle potato chips?
Mm-hmm.
Those are good.
They are good.
Those are pretty good.
Totally agree with cold baked beans and pasta for leftovers.
My wife's like, why aren't you heating that up? I'm like, why would you?
Exactly.
Why would you? All right. Going back, she just mentioned waffle chips and scooping up. As we got one more show left tomorrow, and then it's the big Independence Day weekend.
Yes.
There's no time left to say this. I need to put out a plea to people getting ready for their 4th of July parties.
Okay.
If you have any sort of French onion dip, do not buy the regular yellow Lay's potato chips.
They break.
They are not strong enough to support the dip. You need to get a wavy Lay, maybe a Ruffle, or as our listener says, the waffle chip. I don't want to go to any parties and see those yellow Lays. There are better things out there, people. So.
Okay.
And wavy Lays are Lays. You know, I'm not bashing the Lays people. I just think those yellow Lay's potato chips
aren't for dip.
They're not. They're definitely not for dip, and I don't think they should exist.
Oh,
in general,
it's the one that Marsha grabs every single time. We have a bag right now.
Get some kettle chips. You want a potato chip? Get a kettle chip. Joe, you're groaning over there.
Yeah, I'm not a potato chip fan.
Oh,
I'm a corn chip, Doritos, corn chips.
Okay,
Yeah.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but those Lays have been on the shelves for a long time.
I know.
I think a lot of people like them, Josh.
And I don't get it at all.
Well, you don't have to.
Oh,
you
I
have
know.
a whole row of other chips you can buy. Somebody said you just need to loosen the French onion dip up with a little bit of milk. Yellow Lays are delicious by themselves. Yes, they are. And addicting, if you ask me. People are calling actors cool when their job is to lie to us and act like someone else than who they really are.
Well,
Isn't that the truth?
It's the art form.
It is the art form.
But I guess they have that image that they create. I wonder, of all the people in Hollywood, that if you ever met them, you know, the Fonz, right? Henry Winkler.
Yeah.
You watch that TV show and you're like, oh, this is the coolest guy ever. He could start a jukebox just by smashing it with his fist. He is the nicest, nerdiest guy.
I wouldn't say Henry Winkler is the coolest.
No,
Yeah.
but I guess that's acting, right?
Keanu Reeves is on this list on the Woods Basement Systems text line. Reese Witherspoon is cool. Somebody said they agree about Barack Obama. Angie Harmon. Haven't heard that name in a while.
She is cool.
She used to always be in St. Louis, too, remember? Because her then husband, Jason Sehorn, played for the Rams for a second.
That's right. Ciro wants to know, why is it that the cool dudes always got the smoking hot babes? Probably because they were cool.
Yeah.
The babes are probably cool, too. Do cool people run together?
I would think so.
I wouldn't know.
As for the women who are cool, have you ever watched Candace Parker on ESPN or other stations? She is really cool, poised, dynamic. So true.
Who's Candace Parker?
Oh my gosh.
I probably know her if I saw her. Let me just go Candace.
Her jersey just got retired.
Parker.
She's probably one of the best
female
basketball players of all time.
She's cool.
Very cool. Steve McQueen is the king of cool.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Oh, Sophia Loren, the coolest woman to have ever lived. That's a great one. Yeah. Somebody said the yellow Lays are the best for dips. You don't scoop the dip. If you go vertically straight down the dip and back up, no scooping. It sticks to it.
No, it does. You're putting the chip in and you're pulling it out and it's still dry.
No, it isn't.
I'm a scooper.
Well, you are, and I am too, because I love the dip and doesn't matter what it is. But I do get that if you just go straight down and up, you'll be getting some dip on that chip.
Another, this is a public service announcement. Try this year.
According to Josh.
According to me.
So take it with a grain of salt.
I don't know what Deerberg's has. They might have it too. But Schnucks has a caramelized French onion dip. And it's kind of more of a brownish color because it's got caramelized onions in it instead of, regular. It's really good.
I will say, I don't think I have purchased French onion dip in the last 10 years.
I'm going to eat my weight in French onion dip this weekend.
Not going to do it. But, to each their own, and that's why there are so many things out at the picnic.
What is on your picnic table this weekend that we didn't mention? I say French onion dip. Heidi does not. Who's right?
Somebody
84126.
Coleslaw. Oh, you're right. From the 424, Lenny Kravitz is the epitome of cool.
Yes.
How did we not mention it?
Is that 3 for 3, Joe? Yes.
Absolutely.
Man.
Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure. It is 3:30. Let's go to the very cool Captain Paul Kopsky.
Okay, thanks, Heidi. An accident on northbound 270 at Dorset is blocking the 3 right lanes with traffic backed up to Page. Southbound 270 is heavy from Page down to 64. Southbound 170 bogs down at Delmar. Southbound 55 is running slow around South Broadway. Westbound 64 is crowded from 364 to the 6470 interchange. And the off-ramp from eastbound 364 to Woodstone is closed. This traffic report is brought to you by Fielder Electric. See what everyone is saying about the pros at Fielder Electric. Whether it's a new build or a 100-year-old home, Fielder Electric has you covered. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Someone saying, sorry, I'm late. Diane Keaton. Okay, I agree, especially the way she carries herself. That's all about it.
She's like a funny, quirky, cool.
But still cool. Denzel Washington, we've gotten that a couple times. Besides Sophia Loren, there's Elizabeth Taylor. So lots. Keep the conversation going on the Woods Basement Systems text line 84126. If you don't have a picnic to go to, I can guarantee you there's fun stuff happening in Springfield, Illinois this weekend. You can travel iconic Route 66. What better way to kind of celebrate America than being on Route 66? Or better yet, checking out Abraham Lincoln and the fantastic Abraham Lincoln Library and Museum. It is absolutely stunning, and you will learn so much. You can spend hours there, and honestly, you could spend days in Springfield, Illinois, because there's so much to see and do and eat, because you've got the Mellow Cream Donuts, which they've been serving up Springfield's favorite donuts since 1932. So that is a definite must stop. You got Cozy Dog Drive-In, which is home to the original hot dog on a stick invented in Springfield. So you got to try a couple of those things. And then if you want to plan out your trip, you can go to visit springfieldillinois.com, because they even have sample itineraries. So if you want to do, a day through history and Lincoln's legacy, you'll find that. Or maybe you want a full day of Route 66 nostalgia. That's there as well. And of course, you got to enjoy the art and the architecture and the outdoor places, because there's Lincoln Memorial Garden, which is absolutely gorgeous, and you're near the lake. So plan to stay, not just play. And again, you can plan that all out online at visitspringfieldillinois.com.
And now, KTRS weather from the
for thousands of people here who were impacted by this kind of violence.
And probably silence a lot of people because they don't want to go through with maybe reporting them if this is the way it's going to end up.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in the United States, rape is the most unreported crime. And according to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, 63% of rapes are never reported to the police. So to your point, when high-profile cases like this come up, it's going to associate a stigma with going to the police if you've been impacted, because you might not be believed, and you'd rather just stay silent because of that, because of the culture that is apparent in our society.
Yeah, and I also feel like so often the victim is judged for not coming forward immediately or taking too long. What have you learned about the survivor's experience?
Yeah, so I think that's a really good thing that you bring up. There are some do's and don'ts if someone does share with you that they've been impacted or victimized. I think good things to do are to be a good listener, to really not interrupt, to not judge, and really start by believing their stories, because people rarely lie about being sexually assaulted. Also, I think just remembering that it is not their fault.
Right.
We really have to stand by survivors, because 100% of the blame lies with the perpetrators in these cases.
And we still don't know what the punishment is going to be. We don't know how long Puff Daddy or Diddy, what his sentence is going to be. But I think a lot of people can say that he got off in this case, or at least survived the most serious charges. I don't know what Cassie and Jane Doe were wanting him to be convicted of, but what do you say to people who get discouraged by the legal system continually to let us down and let a lot of these men and women go free?
Yeah, well, of course it's discouraging. And I think what we can offer to survivors is the support services that are in our communities. There are many wonderful free counseling resources, legal services that are there for those who have been affected by this. The Angel Band Project is just one of them. But what we do is we are open, we are free. There's no cost to participate in our programming. And I think that's a really important thing, so that there are not barriers to get the help that you need, which is why it's critical to have organizations like ours and others in the community to be there 24/7 for survivors.
And Rachel, what I really think is cool about the Angel Band Project is you put on your website, we're here to help all ages 7 to 78. And I'm wondering, especially for a young teenager, are there red flags that they can look for that maybe go, you know what, I got to get out of this before this gets too deep?
Well, certainly. I mean, a lot of intimate partner violence cases or sexual assault, they stem from a place of control. So if there's a dynamic at play in a teen relationship where, somebody is asking you to do things that you're not comfortable with, or saying that they're going to tell someone that you did something, or take a photo of you that you're not comfortable with, those are all red flags. This is a power relationship that the perpetrator is seeking, is the power over someone else. So anything that makes that person feel uncomfortable or less than, those are red flags. And parents should really be paying attention too, if they witness that their teen is maybe in a relationship that doesn't seem like the power is equal in this relationship.
And do you have advice for parents if they do see that, how to approach their son or daughter?
Yeah, I mean, it's really tricky. I think being open and curious and asking questions about a relationship to determine, is this a healthy avenue for a teenager to pursue? Just asking those simple questions. I'm curious about, what you're doing on the weekends, or what do you like to do when you're together? Trying to just be, open to keeping those communication channels available, because as we know, teens can shut down really quickly if they're feeling threatened.
And I was just going to ask you, I've got a 4-year-old. I know I've got a lot of tough and weird and awkward conversations ahead of me, But how do we, do we sit down and just say, look, this is kind of the world, and if you are in trouble at all, I need you to come and talk to me first.
Absolutely. I mean, there is not an age that it is inappropriate to start talking about safe boundaries with our children. I think just, starting in simple ways, that knowing that it's okay to, that you own your body. Nobody else should be able to touch you without your consent. I mean, consent is everything. It is the defining word when it comes to sexual violence, right? Because if you can't consent to something, or you don't consent, then that is an indicator of sexual violence. So I think just having those conversations with our kiddos when they're young, so that they understand they have total autonomy over their body and their choices, and that no one should be asking them to do anything that they're not comfortable with.
We're talking to Rachel Ebling, co-founder and executive director of the Angel Band Project. Rachel, will you just kind of explain some of the things that you do there with the Angel Band Project?
Sure. So we kind of have an innovative approach to dealing with this very deep-seated trauma, and that is through trauma-informed music therapy. Music therapy interventions are brought into places like crisis counseling agencies, shelters, safe houses, and our board-certified music therapists work with small groups to help process the trauma in sometimes a nonverbal manner. Music therapy is an intervention that can kind of create a bridge for a survivor to maybe eventually talk about something that is so difficult to talk about. So you'd be amazed, for children who are living with their mothers in shelter, they're scared. They've lost their sense of safety. Bringing instruments in to help them kind of find joy and maybe express some emotions during a really critical time can be very beneficial for kiddos. And then, of course, for teens and adults, using these evidence-based interventions to maybe do some songwriting, to really express what's on their minds and in their hearts, and put that through a creative lens, can really cause some amazing recovery and healing to happen during those music therapy sessions.
Well, we know music definitely heals, and that's what you're doing with the Angel Band Project. If you want more information, you can find it online at angelbandproject.org. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Of course, happy to. Thanks so much.
Dense Express STL. Let's talk about a live and local company that is really doing an incredible job. Let's shine a spotlight on this family
between Israel and Hezbollah in the north. But you'll remember in March, mid-March, Israel broke the ceasefire that had been in place with Hamas. Both sides accused each other of violating it, and Israel broke it with a very heavy bombing campaign. And since then, the Israeli army has intensified its operations in the Gaza Strip, and now it essentially controls about 65% of the area, the territory of Gaza, and Israel has pushed most Gazans into the central part of Gaza and the west.
Got it.
So, Jordana, after the horrific attack a couple of years ago by Hamas and then holding hostages up until today, still, I don't see how there's any possible future for Hamas to even exist in Gaza and any sort of future that Gaza has. That's what Netanyahu is saying. What is the American stance? You know, Trump is boasting a ceasefire, but do they say that Hamas could possibly survive this and still retain control of Gaza?
No. I mean, I think the president has been clear, maybe not in recent weeks. He hasn't addressed this again, but his position is that Hamas has to go, that they cannot run the Gaza Strip. And so any real end to the war would see a different governing body come over and take control of the Gaza Strip, probably one that is run jointly by the Egyptians, maybe the Emiratis, maybe there's a Saudi role there. Certainly the Palestinian Authority wants to be part of that picture as well. That might not happen under this current government, the Israeli government, which is quite right-wing. But remember, the Israeli government could change in the next several months, right? It only, if Netanyahu decides he wants to go to early elections, he could dissolve his government and try to win another 4 years before this term is up. And that is one of the reasons why there is now more optimism, because Netanyahu has, scored a clear victory over Iran, not only among his party, but among the opposition. The public widely is giving him a victory there in those 12 days. And Netanyahu is looking to expand the Abraham Accords, if he can bring in Syria or Indonesia or Oman and link that to the end of the Gaza war. That will be a huge victory for him. So there's reasons now for him to take an exit and get on the off-ramp, and even the possibility of calling new elections, that is just one of many reasons why people are hopeful that Netanyahu this time around, after nearly 2 years, would be willing to talk about actually ending the war in Gaza.
So I know the whole thing is surrounding the fact that the Palestinians want their own country. But just looking at a map, has anyone ever floated the idea of Egypt just folding in Gaza as part of their own? And how has that been received?
So I don't think there's, in the last several decades, there's been any real credence given to the idea that Gaza could just go back to the Egyptians. I mean, Gaza is seen by Palestinians as part of their future state. There's a lot of connections between Gaza and the West Bank. And remember, the Egyptians are not interested in letting in, hundreds of thousands of Gazans to the Sinai because of Hamas's presence and power, right? They don't want to
deal with it.
Right. They don't want to give Hamas a foothold in the Sinai. That's the reason that Hamas didn't open its borders to Gazans at the very beginning of the war, right? Because they were smart enough to know it would only cause trouble for Egypt. And Egypt has enough of its own challenges. It doesn't need to invite more in, right? So, I think Gaza, the people of Gaza, even if Gaza is largely in ruins, I think the idea that Gazans in mass would leave Gaza or Palestinians would leave Gaza, I think is really a pipe dream.
Yeah.
Some would leave, maybe tens of thousands would leave for more opportunities, but by and large, people are committed to being there and they consider it home. And in the decades-long political fight with Israel, Gaza is part of their hopes for a future state. Remember, it wasn't too long ago that even President Trump put Gaza in the Palestinian camp when he was devising his own peace plan, which didn't go so far. But nonetheless, when it was crafted, Gaza was, given to the Palestinians.
Right.
Now suddenly the president wants to empty it out and rebuild it and reclaim it, or
make it a resort town.
That's a change, right? That's a real change in his position, right? But I don't think that's feasible in any case.
Well, there's just so much to keep up with. And Jordana, we really appreciate you sorting it all out for us. Thank you. And as always, stay safe.
Thanks. We'll talk soon, guys. Bye.
Hi, it's Frank Cusimano inviting you to join me for the Press Box, brought to you by Control Option, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. We're going to interview some of the biggest names in sports and have our opening monologue. That's the Press Box, brought to you by Control Option, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. right here on the Big 550 KTRS, the talk of St. Louis.
Truck drivers, it's time to take your skills to a company that invests in your safety and comfort. Schneider's newer and well-maintained equipment keeps drivers moving and making money. Our trucks are spec'd with the latest safety and comfort features that drivers want. Plus, we offer a huge selection of driving jobs so you can find a job with the home time and schedule you've been looking for.
Our headlines for this Wednesday afternoon, July 2nd. Chuck E. Cheese is opening arcades for adults. The pizza place and Play Palace isn't just for kids anymore. The arcade chain is opening a spin-off aimed at adults called Chuck's Arcade, which the company describes as a modern-day love letter to the games and people who made Chuck E. Cheese great. Similar to the kid version, Chuck's Arcade has a mix of nostalgic arcade games, Donkey Kong,
Ball Pit,
Mortal Kombat,
Ball Pit,
a newer title such as Halo Connect 4 Hoops. Plus, each arcade is overseen by one of the chain's iconic animatronic characters, including Chuck E. Cheese or other characters from his Munch's Make-Believe band. Do you know how many germs are in that ball pit?
Yeah. Yes.
And you're still going to jump in it?
It's got to be deeper than it used to be.
No. Anyway, 10 are
Break
open
my
so far
kneecaps
at malls across the country with arcades in St. Petersburg, Tulsa, El Paso. Each location looks different, decorated with original artwork that celebrates the brand's past. So looking forward to that.
Have you been to Up Down? Have you been to Start Bar? Have you been to Two Plumbers out in St. Charles?
I have been to Start Bar. Yes.
These are the bars
Arcades.
just like this. These are adult arcades. They have a lot of nostalgic games. They've got a lot of new games. My only qualm,
There was going to be one.
is that when you get people all liquored up with beer and pizza,
They spill and they're sticky.
and the buttons are all sticky.
Well, I mean,
I can't hit the B button. It's all sticky.
is what it is.
Getting hammered on NBA Jam because
Look,
my
it
B
used-
button doesn't work.
Used to be orange juice, maybe a lollipop or a sucker that was on there. It's just a different stickiness.
I think they need to have more of incorporating of the what are the VR helmets?
There is a VR place in the Foundry.
Yeah, and
So-
that looks really cool.
There are places for that. This is taking it back to the people who built Chuck E. Cheese.
I'd like to get in like a little car simulator, put a VR thing on. The thing will rock me back and forth. I'll go down and go up.
I think you probably can.
I think that'd be super cool. Waffle House is dropping its egg surcharge today.
Finally.
Do you remember when the bird flu was going on?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Everybody was freaking out over egg. Everybody was dyeing potatoes on Easter, remember?
No.
No one
Did
no
that.
one did that.
No.
But Waffle House, I think in February, put a surcharge of 50 cents on every egg that it sold. Here's the breakdown of what they sell at Waffle House: 272 million eggs a year.
This is the entire Waffle House chain, or this is it?
This is the entire Waffle House
Okay.
chain. So 272 million eggs plus 50 cents, times 50 cents. So they made an extra 100 and something million dollars. 150 million hash browns are sold, 124 million waffles. They sell eggs 2 to 1 at the Waffle House. It said egg prices were still more expensive than they were a year ago, but the decline was enough for chains like Waffle House to cut their surcharges. They have 2,000 restaurants. They are switching over today back to regular prices. And here's what they said on Twitter. Excellent news.
Oh, of course. You have to do that. You have to.
As of July 2nd, the egg surcharge is officially off the menu. Thanks for understanding. I appreciate that they said, hey, what do I always bring? I always bring up Mr. Mom. And she came up with that idea for, Schooner Tuda.
Yep.
Hey, things are going pretty bad right now, so we're going to lower the price. But when things pick up again, we're going to raise it back up again. But this time, we're all Americans here, and we're all pitching in. Schooner Tuna. Buy Schooner Tuna. So I like that they actually addressed us and said, thanks for understanding.
Right.
It was just a temporary deal.
Yeah, it seems like they're being honest.
Yes.
Which is really
I'm saying.
kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, there is a lot of nice going on at St. Louis County Library. I mean, there's a lot going on. We were just talking to the director and CEO yesterday, and it's such a reminder of all the things that you can do at St. Louis County Library, from the Library of Things, like all the things other than books that you can check out, the fishing poles, the telescopes, the fort making kits, you name it. But then there's all kinds of different programs. Somebody texted us yesterday and said they had signed up for a quilting class.
Yeah.
So many classes, but then you also have, the story time for kids, and you have St. Louis County Library teaming up with St. Louis Public Library for the STL Summer Adventure. That's going on right now through August 10th, and that program is for anybody 0 to 17 to go on an adventure with a variety of fun activities. And then when you complete any 10 activities, you earn a prize. So everyone who signs up gets a free book at registration, and then the fun events will be offered throughout the summer. And there's music and comedy and puppetry and magic and science experiments and so much more. Like I said, there is always something going on, and there's something for kids, there's something for teens, there's something for adults at the St. Louis County Library, and you can learn more at slcl.org. Coming up, we're going to chat with Lauren Risley about the housing market and what you need to know.
Baron Mirror Glass and Door, simply the finest when it comes to glass, mirror, and shower doors. Why? That's easy. Our sales staff and installation team consists of decades and decades of knowledge, consistently keeping updated on all of the industry's newest and greatest ideas, which of course means you get the best advice along with the best installation. One trip to Chesterfield Valley will show you why our prices aren't the only reason to buy from us. That's Baron Mirror Glass and Door.
At Midland, we know sometimes all it takes is a moment for an idea to spark, or to make it happen, a moment to find your dream, or build one, a moment to start your forever, or at least start planning for it. Whatever moments you have, Midland is here for them and can help you make them. Midland, brighter together. Visit us at midlandsb.com. Midland States Bank is member FDIC.
It's Julie Buck here for Dense Express STL. Let's talk about a live and local company that is really doing an incredible job. Let's shine a spotlight on this family-owned business. They are fantastic at what they do. And, of course, they fix your car when you have dents. I mean, we've had a lot of hail damage that's gone around lately, and there are some people that like to put it off. Well, don't worry. You can still get this covered, in most cases, under insurance. And our friends at Dense Express STL will actually take care of the paperwork for you, because that's one of the things that I feel like deters people from getting that repair done. But do it. Get your car back to looking good, making your ride look smooth. Make also minor collision repairs, Dense Express STL. And they do want you to make an appointment. That's the best thing to do. It's just to make an appointment. You can simply do that online, or you can call them. Find out more on their website. It's denseexpressstl.com with 2 locations, one in St. Charles and one in Baldwin.
Carney, Buck.
Coming up Thursday on the Carney Show, we continue with Meet the Channel 4 crowd. Ken Earhart pops in to join us. Frankie Muriel from Doctors of Vegas. Tom O'Keefe takes us to the movies. And as the Coburg case wraps up in Idaho, we talk to Howard Bloom, a man who's chronicled the whole thing in his book, When Night Comes Falling. That's all on the Thursday
Founder of Lauren Risley Realty joins us once a week. It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you, too.
Gosh, what have you been up to?
Oh, gosh, let's see. Cuba, I've been spending a lot of time in Cuba. I've been hanging out with your dad.
I feel like you've seen my dad more than I've seen my dad lately.
I missed a call from him today, so I got to get back to him and see what he's up to.
I didn't miss a call from him, but okay.
Well, he probably meant to call you.
He probably did.
Would be my guess.
Yeah.
But, I got
too
this.
funny.
I inherited this golf cart down in Cuba.
He sent me a picture of it, and it is crazy
It's
cool.
amazing.
What year is that thing?
Okay, so no idea.
Okay.
My guess is pre-1997. And the only, that's specific. The only reason I know that is, so if the listeners listen, they know that your parents and we have a house in Cuba, Missouri, and it's on this lake, Indian Hills.
I mean, you don't have it with my parents. You have
Correct,
a house,
I have
and
a
my
house.
parents
Gosh,
have a house.
That would be odd, but we're getting there. It sounds like.
I know.
It sounds like
I
we
know.
might be merging households. And another friend that has a house down there had this golf cart sitting in storage, said, hey, it's dead with all flat tires.
Oh, my goodness.
Josh just took a peek.
This looks like a Chevy Lumina
It's
van.
got a hood. Yeah. It's got headlights. The hood pops up, and it's just storage. It has blowers on it with like a little bit of air that comes out. It's got a cigarette lighter that works.
It is so cool.
It's
On
got a
golf
third
cart,
row.
you need that?
No, but it's got all the things. It's got a
Yeah.
tape deck, so I got to go back and find my.
Hey,
Yes.
That looks boss.
It does.
What the
It
kids
does.
say.
We just had to get it
no,
running.
I think, there's some more. I just had a cool word that my niece taught me, but it wouldn't sound cool coming out of my mouth, so never mind.
Yeah.
It happens.
But
Can I ask you, since
you're going
this
to
is
anyway.
real
Yeah,
estate
I
stuff?
think you should.
You guys have a lake house in Cuba. That is what?
Separately, we just
Right.
Yes.
An hour away.
Yeah, hour and
Hour
20.
and 20. Lake of the Ozarks, 3 hours.
Table Rock, 4.5.
Right. I have been through Lake St. Louis.
Okay.
And if you have one of those houses, you feel like you're on vacation full time. That's what I assume.
Sure.
And you're still just,
At home.
25 minutes from Chesterfield, if not closer. Are those properties impossible to get?
And
Like
either.
like somewhere, if I said, Lauren, I want to live on a lake and feel like I'm on vacation full time, go.
So
And still be, 20 minutes from work, go.
split answers. Well, 20 minutes from work, your option is Lake St. Louis.
30 minutes.
So,
yeah.
Okay, well, still 30 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Or
Unless
get you like a
know of a
little
lake
or
that-
get you in Newtown and then do like a paddleboard or something.
Right.
Does that count? There's a
Maybe.
lake in there. All
Right, maybe.
So Lake St. Louis, we have a ton of clients that live in there, and the clients we've worked with that live in there typically hire us as a transaction broker. And what that means is they're hiring us not to give real estate advice, but to execute a contract
Because somebody's already knocked on the door.
knocked on their door. So
Yeah.
a lot of that community exchanges within that community and sells within that community. And so, if people say, have you ever sold there? It's like, kind of. Like,
Yeah.
No, but yes. I mean,
I would say
maybe.
no.
No,
Yeah.
but I mean, yeah.
But
my name's
you've
on the
done
contract,
that,
so
yeah.
And as a transaction broker, even if like a client of mine hired me, if you hired me and it was with your neighbor, I still can't give you real estate advice. That's kind of the deal. Is I'm
Got it.
just there to
push
do the
the
transaction.
papers.
Yep, because I can legally sign that stuff and all of that. So I can explain the terms of the contract. But if you're like, hey, you think I could get 10,000 more out of them? Like, what are the comps? What are things going for? I can't tell you that.
La, 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 la.
I mean, I can listen. I can just go, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you.
That's how Lauren met my dad. Lauren actually helped us with the process of finding the house in Cuba. We went down one day and saw 3 houses. And
They're like, we'll take this one.
yeah, so, I mean, that's
Your
how
mom
we...
said, your mom said,
Can you repeat
on
this?
Saturday, your
Yeah.
mom said, I just want to thank you so much for putting us in debt.
Oh.
Yep.
She
Seems
said, we've
about
been
right.
debt free for so long, but
You're
for certain
welcome.
situations, when they were buying, and not to share their information, but, people have cash. And they
Yeah.
said, should we buy in cash? And I was not a transaction agent, so
Yeah,
I could
you could
tell
advise.
them. And I said, honestly, no, I think cash is king, and I think opportunities arise, and I think you should mortgage the house and make the payments. And if you had a huge trip come up that you wanted to, you can't go, I can't, shoot. We just put, 20%
house
down on
poor.
this house or whatever it is, or 100% down actually if you're paying cash. And it's like, you can pay it off at any time, but if you're in retirement, the joy is enjoying life, going on adventures. Why are you taking 100,000, 300,000, 400, 500,000 and putting it's gone? It's gone, right? Or you put 20% down. Yeah, you're making a payment
the
of $2,500 a
kids
month.
will get it eventually, but
Of
I
course.
don't want to leave anything to my son.
then spend it all.
Yeah, I want to die with a penny in the bank.
I think you're a great dad.
Wow.
I think that's great. I think that's great. But
presumably Heidi and her sister will inherit this house.
Probably the
when they're gone.
grandkids.
we probably have about 15. Oh, I actually know the answer to that because your dad and I talked about his final arrangements as well.
Oh, wow. Well, you guys are close.
Well, we went and bought golf cart batteries, and there was nowhere near Cuba to do it, so we drove out to Rolla, and we
Deep
we had some
conversations.
deep conversations and stuff, and it was great. But no, we have probably about 10 to 15 clients right now that are looking for a lake house on any lake.
Yeah.
Not the Ozarks because they want to be. I mean, people now, but I don't think people realize these existed. I've gone to Indian Hills for 20 years with one of my best friends.
And I would say I had no idea that Cuba was an option.
I think I posted a picture Memorial Day weekend and you go, where are you? And I go, the lake. And you go, Ozarks. I said, Cuba.
And especially for my mom and my sister who they're in Baldwin and Ellisville, it's not even an hour. It's 45 minutes and they can go down and boat if they want to. And then get
come
back if they
sleep in their own bed.
We've gone down just for the day all the time.
What's that one manufactured lake out there, like past Wright City, with all the A-frame? Innsbruck.
Oh, Innsbruck. Yeah. There's a bunch of different lakes there, but small. There's not boats. I think it's like a fishing boat, trolling motor type
kayaks.
Thing.
You have to.
A lot of rules.
Yeah, this is like 350 acres. It's big enough though. You can wave run, jet ski. Takes the kids on the tube.
All the water sports are happening, but there's also quiet time before
it's before 10
o'clock, so I can get out and kayak, or you can do whatever you want.
So if I came into a bunch of money somehow.
You don't even need a bunch, just some.
Legally or illegally, and I said I want to live in Lake St. Louis, would you say I'll do the best I can? Or
we'd still find you something. I mean, you'd still find something, but here's to answer your first question. I don't think you'd feel like you're on vacation if you lived in a house on the lake full time. I don't think it would feel the same way as it does
when you're getting away.
When you're getting away. Like for me, I go down almost every weekend, even if it's for the day. If I'm done at 2 on Friday, I go down with the dogs, get some yard work done there, which I love doing. My neighbor cuts the grass, so I'm going to be honest. But then like pulling weeds and planting flowers, and then just sit out and watch the sunset, hang out. It's just so quiet down there. And then get up in the morning, go for a boat ride. The dogs love the boat. Like they will run down to the dock, get on the pontoon, and just stay there until we go. Yeah. And then you can go out for a couple hours and come back the next day. But I feel so away.
Yeah.
I think if it's your own house,
with your own problems,
with your own stuff, your own laundry, your own, I got to paint this or do this. It just feels different. But now there's like Lake Egypt and a couple in Bonne Terre, and Adam's like our king of land and lake. Like, I'm like, do you know where Raleigh County is? He's like, Mark Twain. I'm like, great. Do you want to?
Owensville has a lake.
Yeah. Well, so we have clients, they don't care what lake it is, as long as it's within like an hour from their house. And so, but it is hard. I mean, I wrote 4 or 5 offers over 3 years before I even got the one I got, and I got the one I got by luck. So your dad even asked, I said, you could make money selling yours now, you know?
Did he think about it? What else do I need to know?
No, he's staying. You're good. You're still good. Let me see. They put together 2 chairs.
Okay.
For the fire pit. They did a great job.
Thank
they
you.
look nice.
Okay, good.
But no, this golf cart is wild. And you asked what year it is. The only reason I'd have any idea is your dad said, hey, a family friend offered me this golf cart. It's in a garage. I didn't know the condition of the garage. Do you want to go down? He's like, I got a flatbed trailer. I got a winch on it. Let's go get it. It'll be fun. He says it'll be fun.
Yeah.
So I get 6 golf cart batteries because that's how many batteries a golf cart needs here in St. Louis. Batteries Plus. They're not a sponsor, but they have golf cart batteries.
They do?
Oh yeah. And
I guess
but
that's
like
part of the
O'Reilly,
plus.
all of that do not.
And it's a battery.
Yeah. But you'd think like AutoZone, Napa, all that. No, they're special order for golf cart. So I get 6. I didn't know it was dangerous to drive with them, but Adam gave me this whole like, go slow, don't get bumped, or I don't know. Anyways, get down there with the golf cart, or get down there with the batteries. It's only like 97 degrees that day.
What was that all?
So your dad and I go, it's 3:00 in the afternoon, go into this garage. It is this is going to sound bad, the moistest garage. Like spider webs everywhere, no lights.
Sweltering.
All the tires are flat. And there's no so I'm like doing chat GPT and like minimal service, like chat GPT, like how do you get this to roll, because it won't even roll. We can't push it, we can't pull it, the winch won't pull it. And so I'm calling golf cart companies, and I'm like, hey, can you please help me? Like, I'll make someone buy a golf cart from you. Just help me, and called the Gateway Golf Cart, Dean Team Golf Cart. And they're like, what kind of golf cart is it? And I'm like, I'm not sure. The motor is this and the axle is starter or whatever. They're like, no, what kind of cart? And I was like, to be clear, I understood the question. I'm like, if I had service right now and could send you a photo, you would also be like, huh. Like when I went to get the sticker for it at the front office, she's like, what's the car type? And I was like, I think it's like a Pontiac. I have no idea.
I've seen golf carts that look like Hummers out in Newtown. I've seen ones that look like old dune buggies. They're fun.
Oh yeah, well,
little Shelby Cobras golf carts.
Well, and her dad goes, once we got it out of the garage and it got cleaned up, and it didn't take much, but he goes, oh, Lauren, I'll be honest with you. He goes, when we first walked into that garage, I thought, I hope she can return these batteries. He's like, I thought you spent $1,200 because they're expensive.
Yeah,
he's like, I thought you spent $1,200 on a piece of junk. And then I saw him this past weekend. I drove it down there because I got it fixed and everything. So we couldn't get it. We couldn't get it out of the garage. So we had to get like an actual tow truck with an automotive winch to pull it. And
it's been an ordeal.
It has been a whole thing. And so, which is so funny because I love rural areas because what they think costs money. We live in the city. Like we are overcharged for everything, And so this mechanic he's like, I could pull it and you can drop off the batteries. I'll put all the batteries in, air up the tires. And it's just the three of us. And your dad's looking at me going, like shaking his head no. He's like, don't do it. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't think he's going to tow it for free,
Yeah.
And your dad goes, well, how much are you going to charge her? Because I was going to do it for free. I'm like, good negotiating skills. I love this, And he said, well, I mean, I have to charge her something. And I'm like, I understand, but like, what is it? And he's like, I mean, it will take time to do it. I'm like, you don't have to build this up. Just throw out a price. I mean, it's probably going to be like $150. I'm like, $150?
Done.
I'm like, and we're still here?
Done.
I'm like, done. Let's go.
Get that,
Let's go. And your
baby.
dad was so disappointed. He's like, I promise you I could have done it. I'm like, for $150, like, we're out here
It's like what an oil change costs these days.
It's half of what it costs for me to ask my real estate attorney a question, like, and you got the golf cart running, so.
Yeah. And now Darren might add a Rich's Famous Burgers to Cuba, so we'll have to talk about that.
I ran out of gas at the Father's Day weekend. It was a whole another thing, which was fine because everyone down there is so nice.
Yes.
Within 2 seconds, we get towed, and we get towed to the marina that isn't open on Sundays.
Yeah.
It's very convenient, considering it's there for the convenience of the neighborhood. But that's okay. And I was daydreaming all the things I would love to do to that marina. I mean, we're having dance parties. We're gonna have a grill master down there. All sorts of great things.
Well, look, we've taken up all our time talking about Cuba and the golf cart and everything else.
If you want a lake house, give us a call.
There you go. 314-775-0684. Of course, a lot of what we talk about, maybe not today, but usually when we're talking about...
Maybe not. It's a holiday weekend.
It is. You can listen to Lauren and Adam on Call the Closer with Lauren Risley Realty here on the Big 550 Sundays at 1. And, of course, if you are in the market to buy or sell a home, or if you just have a question about golf carts, about Cuba, about lake houses, because knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Call Lauren Risley Realty, 314-775-0684. You can also email her at hello@laurenrisleyrealty.com.
And just so you guys know, we have had people email. We love it. So, like, when we say reach out, we don't say it just because it's like a nice thing you say to close things up.
No, you really want to
mean
connect.
it. Yeah, we had a handful of people reach out last week after the tax assessment. We did some valuations on a couple houses, sent them back information on that. On our Sunday show, we had Joe Doctor from Inspection Company. We had a couple people reach out and say, hey, can we have him come out and look to make sure there's nothing going on that we're unaware of? So this is like what we love doing. So if you have a question, and if it is about a golf cart, between my now experience in golf carts, Heidi having one, I have one here in St. Louis, we can refer you to someone there. But like literally anything that you might have a question, just reach out. If we don't have the answer, we'll find it for you.
Absolutely. That's one of the many things that Lauren Risley Realty does well. Thank you, ma'am.
See you next week. 4:35, Captain Paul, how are the roads?
Heidi, they just cleared a crash on eastbound 70 before Tucker, but there is a residual slowdown back to Grand. Westbound 70 is busy downtown. Southbound 270 is heavy from Page down to Manchester. Southbound 170 congested from
And that's why this game is really important. I mean, you'd like to win the whole thing, but this is about, for the United States, hey, can I play well enough tonight to get a spot on the United States team in the World Cup?
Well, and what a great opportunity for St. Louis to host it.
I got to tell you, it is absolutely nuts. And you'd think that Guatemala has taken over the city of St. Louis.
Really?
I mean, if you look at what's going on right now and it's packed, you would think the crowd is going to be 80-20 Guatemala as opposed to the United States. Everybody down there has like a Guatemala jersey on. It's crazy. And here's another thing is that as soon as the United States beat Costa Rica in that thrilling penalty kick game on Sunday, it took exactly 24 hours for this game to be sold out.
Whoa.
And these tickets, this is not like going to, West Isle Theater. We're talking $170, like the cheapest ticket you can buy right now. So it's a pricey ticket, and it's going to be a sold-out game.
And Frank, I was wondering if it was going to be sold out. It's a holiday week. People could travel in from surrounding states who want to see U.S. men's national team soccer. But as you're saying, they're traveling in from all parts of Guatemala for this, too.
Either that or there are a lot of Guatemalans living in St. Louis that we didn't know about. It's crazy. Yeah.
Which could be. We got to talk about the Cardinals. They got swept by the Pirates.
Blanked by the Pirates.
What's going on?
Well, it's amazing because if you take like the pulse of St. Louis on Sunday at 2 o'clock after they just swept the Tribe, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I even said this on the air, oh my goodness, the baseball gods are watching, and now we get the Pirates. This is going to be awesome. We could go into Chicago with like a 6-game win streak. And not only are you shut out in Pittsburgh, you go 0 for Pittsburgh and you don't score a run, but it's practically embarrassing because I don't care what anybody says. I know the Pirates had a good series against the Mets. They're not good.
Right.
And to not score a run against them for 3 consecutive games, but this is this roller coaster season, and who knows? They may go into Chicago and sweep the Cubs. It's been bizarre, but this was a really devastating 3 days in Pittsburgh.
And Wilson Contreras getting hit again. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I will say this: he does invite getting hit by pitches because he kind of leans across the plate and he doesn't get away from pitches, I think, as quickly as some. But now it's become like, hey, you hit me and there's going to be repercussions. And, there have been a couple of games. He apologized, I think, after one of the games when he started a little melee.
Right.
But now he's just ticked off and, hey, you hit me, we're going at it.
Okay, so yesterday, Bobby Bonilla Day, which is kind of crazy. Will you give us the backstory on how this came to be?
Well, it's bizarre, and for the people who don't know it, he's 62 now, and he gets paid $1.19 million every July 1st, and he will until I think it's 2035.
It's crazy.
So the Mets. It's crazy, yeah. And there's a Bernie Madoff angle to this, which I don't think a lot of people realize, is that Fred Wilpon, the owner of the Mets at the time, got involved with Bernie Madoff, and he thought that I could do this with Bobby Bonilla's contract because I'm going to get this big money from this investment I'm doing with Madoff.
No.
Now, of course, turned out that was this Ponzi scheme. So they decided to, structure the deal where he would get paid, over the years and not that one lump sum. Well, that one lump sum is turned into $30 million now. So it's absolutely bizarre. He thought he was doing something smart by, what's the actual phrase? It's when you don't pay somebody right away, you want to extend it.
Yeah,
I'm not exactly sure of the wording.
Yeah, kind of like layaway.
Say that again?
Layaway at Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, and he thought he could do that because of this investment he had with Bernie Madoff, and it's turned out to be disastrous in a lot of ways for Fred Wilpon and the Mets.
Is this it is kind of funny, and we laugh about it every July 1st, but is this kind of what they're doing with Shohei's deal out in L.A.? He's getting paid like, what, $1 million this year, but in year 10, he's going to be getting paid $30 million?
Yeah, it's very similar, and it's like what the Angels also did with Albert Pujols, because he's now on some type of contract with them where he's paid, about $1 million a year for another like 10 years.
Wow.
So.
It's crazy. Well, we will let you go. Get back
Good work
to the
if you
golf
can
course.
find it. Yeah.
And good luck. I got to say, though, if I'm betting, I'm probably betting on Brooke.
Well, I'm hurt that you have that kind of confidence in me, but you're probably right.
Good luck, though.
See you tomorrow, Frank.
Okay, guys, have a good one.
See ya.
Yes, a full report tomorrow. Take care.
Are you old school or are you new school? Doesn't really matter, because if you need a hardware store, where do you go? Schnarr's Hardware, and their 2 locations, East Lockwood and Webster Groves, and, of course, their world headquarters on Clayton Road. You see, Schnarr's Hardware is one of those places where you walk in and you say, this thing broke off my toilet. Do you have one of these? Yeah, follow me. And they take you in the back, and you pass 19 different aisles of things that you wish you could stop and look at. And do you need a 3-inch or a 4-inch? I think I need a 3-inch. Great. I'll buy 2, and I'll bring the other one back. That's why Schnarr's Hardware has been so successful. It's the customer service and the attention to detail. Whether you need fertilizer or whether you need something for the kitchen, maybe you need something for the big green egg. 2 locations.
Eastbound 64 bogs down at 170, and westbound 64 is crowded in front of Forest Park and from 364 to the 6470 merge. This traffic report is brought to you by Club Fitness. Club Fitness is the premier health club in St. Louis with 24-hour access at all of their 19 locations and endless amenities. You will see what everyone has been talking about. Sign up today at any location or online at clubfitness.us. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
You guys, it is another Muni premiere, and I am talking about Disney's Frozen. Based on the Oscar-winning animated film, the Muni is presenting this Disney phenomenon that has taken the world by storm. In the kingdom of Arendelle sisters, Anna and Elsa, as they grow increasingly distant, when Elsa becomes queen and her hidden powers spiral out of control, she flees, plunging the kingdom into an eternal winter. It is a fantastic story with beloved songs from the Oscar-winning film, along with a dozen new songs written just for the stage.
Can I break in here for a second?
You sure can.
As the father of a son and a male myself, you would
Yes.
think that this is a movie for Disney
Oh,
princesses
no.
and little girls.
Olaf?
Olaf is hilarious.
Yes.
These are probably the best Disney songs in one movie. I mean, Beauty and the Beast had some bangers.
Right.
Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Yep.
Lion King had some great stuff by Elton John. These songs, one after the other,
Fantastic.
all are great.
And you have the tale of sisterhood, acceptance, and the meaning of true love, all told on the Muni's big, beautiful stage under the stars. Don't forget, it's the nation's oldest and largest outdoor musical theater. And now Tony Award winning, because the Muni just received the 2025 Regional Theater Tony. So do not miss Disney's Frozen. It opens July 6th, runs through July 14th. It is going to be fantastic. Showtime is 8:15 each night. Tickets start at just $21. You can find those at muni.org or go to MetroTix.
The storms are back, the wind, the hail, the damage to the roof. And when the roof gets damaged, who do you call? You call John Bill Roofing. But the storms are back. You know who else follows the storms? The storm chasers. These are the teams of people who come and leave a note on your door, mailbox, maybe your windshield wiper, and they tell you to call, and you think you're getting a deal. You give them half the money, and you never see them again. With John Bill Roofing, they've been in this business for a long time right here in St. Louis. They live, work, and play, and they guarantee you to give you the best price on your roof. When the roof gets damaged, your first phone call is to John Bill Roofing, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, or johnbillroofing.com. Roofing, siding, gutters, John Bill Roofing. Residential, commercial, industrial, a company you can trust, a company that lives, works, and plays right here in St. Louis. Make it local. Make it John Beal or johnbillroofing.com.
Progressive Insurance. Progressive can protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. In short, a lot of things. Bundle today at progressive.com.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us, too, in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
This weekend is what summer's all about, and Macy's July 4th sale is going on now with deals on everything you need to celebrate. Hosting? Turn your backyard into a party destination with 40 to 50% off outdoor entertaining. Beachbound? Turn heads in this season's hottest swimsuits, sundresses, and more. Get away with the kids? Superpower their summer with 25 to 60% off toys from Nerf. Plus, don't miss Macy's 4th of July fireworks live on NBC and Peacock. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
My perfect day at Sand, Salt, Water, and Friends.
but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year
misunderstandings or sort of blackballing people from the industry instead of going after them in court, and then trying their hand at other types of IP like trademark and patent, which is what Lululemon is trying to do here. Because to your point, the question this case is going to be seeking to answer is one that we don't have a good answer for in the law right now, which is, when does a feature like a bell bottom, if you are the sort of innovator, the original designer of that feature of clothing, when does it serve as a source identifier saying this bell bottom means that it comes from a particular source? And when is it just you're the only one who is doing that right now? So it's a source identifier by the transitive property, not that the bell bottom is intended to tell you it comes from a particular source, but because you're the only one making clothing with a bell bottom, when people see the bell bottom, they think, oh, it must come from this particular company. Is that what trademarks are intended to protect? Is that what patents are intended to protect? Not necessarily, but that seems to be almost the argument that Lululemon is going to have to make here.
Yeah. Could a designer just add a zipper where the buttons are and it's okay, it's a new design?
Well, so that goes into the distinctions between trademark and patent law, which this case is complicated in the sense that they are bringing both trade dress claims and patent claims. So last time we talked, we discussed a little bit about trade dress being sort of anything about a product other than really the product name or the logo that serves as a source identifier. So it can be ornamental design features, it can be the packaging, it can be a color if the color is unique. Really anything about the product other than its name can serve as trade dress. But then you can have overlapping protection for trade dress in the form of a design patent, because both a design patent and trade dress are intended to protect the non-functional parts of a product. So from a design patent perspective, they're saying this is something that's purely ornamental and something that's novel that you invented, as opposed to, it may or may not be something that people see as a source identifier. So something can be protected by both trade dress and a design patent. Here, if the button or the zipper is part of the trade dress, then just changing it from one to the other, it would be a question of, is it still confusingly similar to consumers? Do consumers see that as distinctive enough to no longer believe it comes from the same source if they see one or the other? If it's a patent question, then not necessarily. If they serve the same function, then that could still be an infringement of a patent, sort of not regardless of what consumers think.
So the last time we had you on, we specifically talked about Aldi and their packaging and how it looked just like Oreo cookies. Wheat Thins, which everybody knows comes in that yellow box. It has that font that we all recognize. Aldi was selling thin wheat, which came in the same color box with the same kind of font. That was trade dress. When it comes to a pair of pants, when it comes to a top, a jacket, a shirt that you can hold and wear, is that starting to get into patents because it's an actual thing? What is the difference, just very briefly, trademark, copyright, patent?
Yeah, so copyright is getting into the artistic. It has to be an artistic expression in fixed form. So there are, certainly people who would say that clothing is artistic expression, but courts have just held that that's not something that is protectable by copyright. The trade dress and patent protection here are not mutually exclusive. So trade dress protection is for any part of a product that serves as a source identifier to tell you this. It's not just telling you what type of product it is, but it is distinguishing it as a product made by a particular company, as opposed to being made by a different company. Specific features of a product can be trade dress. So I think we talked about last time the color red, the red bottom on a Christian Louboutin shoe. that could serve as trade dress if someone sees that and it tells them, it's not serving a function. It can't be something that affects the primary purpose of the product, and it cannot be something that affects the color the cost or the quality of the product. So if if it's a feature that's the cheapest way to manufacture it, so that's why it looks like that, then you can't call that trade dress, because you can't get a business competitive advantage by claiming trade dress. You can't force your competitors to not be able to do sort of the cheapest manufacturing route just by claiming it as trade dress. Versus with a patent, if you genuinely have an invention that is novel, you're the first person to come up with it, it is not like anything really we've seen before, then you can get patent protection and you can prevent other people from doing exactly whatever is protected by your patent for the life of the patent, which is usually 20 years, sort of regardless of the considerations we think of in trade dress as far as consumer confusion or it's anything like that. It's the patent protection is just, if you got it and the USPTO issued it to you and it's a valid patent, you can prevent other people from making whatever is protected by your patent.
It is so confusing and there's so much to know. What about intellectual property? Where does that come in?
So all of these sort of terms we're throwing around, copyright versus trademark versus patent, these are all examples of intellectual property. There's also sort of, trade secrets can be involved in an intellectual property case. But whenever we talk about IP, we're talking about those exclusive rights that are given to you, either because the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office issued you a patent, or in the case of a trademark, you don't have to have a trademark registration in order to assert trademark rights, as long as you are using a mark, or in this case, trade dress, in commerce, meaning like you are actually using it on your goods and services or the name of your company or something, then you have you most likely have the right to prevent other people from using a confusingly similar trademark or trade dress, even if the USPTO has never issued you a trademark registration for that IP.
So when we talked about the cookies last time and the Aldi's cookies being on the shelves right next to Oreos, they're both the same color, they're both the exact same cookie, and you said, but as long as people know what they're buying and that when they check out with those Aldi's cookies, they know these aren't Oreos, then they are probably okay. It's all about the customer confusion. And technically, it's meant to protect us from accidentally buying Aldi's cookies when we actually wanted Oreos. So my sister actually has a pair of these pants, and we said, well, Lululemon, and she said, no, Costco. She knew they weren't the actual thing, but she bought these because they were cheaper. Walmart sells something that looks like a Birkin bag. Hermes charges $30,000. They charge $50,000. When you buy something from Walmart, you know it's not, a Birkin bag, but you're getting it because it's cheaper. By the fact of you saying, I bought this one because it was cheaper, does that negate any arguments to say, well, they're confusing the consumer?
I think it's certainly Costco's strongest argument here is that just like Aldi, people come to Costco because they want to get discount goods. Now, I think the argument is a little different with Costco than with Aldi, because when you go into an Aldi, yes, they sometimes have name brand goods, but most often Aldi does not sell the name brand version of a product. They only sell the Aldi version, and you go to Aldi expecting to get the Aldi version. Mm-hmm. At Costco, right, it's kind of the exact opposite. People go to Costco because they can get their favorite brands at wholesale price. So
Good
they
point.
are expecting a lot of time to get in. So, if I go onto Costco's website, I won't see, I was just on Costco's website earlier, they have name brand Adidas and Eddie Bauer and these other sort of athletic company clothing on their website. So it's not a given that when you walk into Costco that whatever you're seeing is certainly a dupe as opposed to the real thing. However, that's where the cost comparison can play a role. That is a consideration in a trade dress infringement case, is if the price is very similar, and the prices, especially if the price is low, consumers might not be looking that carefully at the name whenever they're picking out the product, so they might be more easily confused. But I think, in this case, the Lululemon jacket is $120-something, and the Costco jacket, when it was still available on its website, was $8.
Right.
So it's unlikely that someone who is setting out to get a Lululemon jacket would see the Costco version for $8 and think that it was a legitimate Lululemon jacket, if that's what they were searching for.
Melanie, does it come into play at all that maybe they know, the consumer knows that they're buying a dupe, but they're buying it to dupe others so that people think I'm in Lululemon even when it's Costco, like Josh? Does that come into play at all at a trial?
It can, because we have sometimes courts will buy the theory of what's called post-sale confusion. And so that is where, if someone else sees you on the street wearing it and thinks it's a legitimate Lululemon and buys it, either you tell them, I got it from Costco, and then they go buy it from Costco. So now Costco got another sale, sort of trading on the goodwill of Lululemon's brand. But also from Lululemon's perspective, they could be more concerned about the opposite, which is someone sees it, thinks it's real Lululemon, but it has Costco quality, if you will. It looks like it only costs $8, and they say, wow, Lululemon has really gone downhill. I was going to ask for a Lululemon jacket for Christmas, and now I'm not going to ask for the Lululemon jacket for Christmas anymore. Or it's it tests positive for lead, or it catches on fire, any of these sort of parade of horribles that you can throw out. And suddenly Lululemon's reputation is damaged if someone else thinks that it was a Lululemon jacket. However, I think that is a difficult argument to make, because there's an idea in all sorts of IP, copyright, trademark, patent, of what we call the first sale doctrine, which is once I've purchased the product, you got what you set out to get as the manufacturer. You set the price and I paid it. So now it's my product and I can do with it what I want. So if I'm wearing a jacket and I do something in the jacket, even though it's sort of, you say it's bearing your trademark, you no longer get to sort of control what happens with the jacket after I've purchased it. So there's an argument to be made that, there's all kinds of horrible things that could happen to damage Lululemon's reputation if someone's wearing a Lululemon jacket while they're doing it. But that's not the purpose of trade dress. Lululemon doesn't get to sort of control what happens after the point of sale, whether it's a legitimate Lululemon or a dupe Lululemon. That's just not what IP is designed to protect.
Okay, so at the end of all of this, if you sell a product that the consumer knows what they're buying and it doesn't have any specific logos or copyrighted whatever's on it, are you telling me that you can rip somebody else off as long as you make it clear enough to the consumer that it's not an Oreo?
Well, this comes, I guess there's two answers. This case is unique in that Lululemon does have a design patent for one of the jackets that they're talking about. And so if they are successful in showing that their patent is presumed valid, Costco will try to argue that the patent isn't valid. But if that doesn't work, then all that really matters is, does your jacket look like the jacket that's protected by the design patent? And so I guess that's certainly the claim I would be most concerned about if I were Costco, because that's getting at exactly what you're talking about, Josh, which is kind of regardless of what the consumer thinks, they have a patent for this, and the jacket looks like the jacket that's in the patent, so they can't get away with that. I guess the flip side of that, if this was not a case with a design patent, if this was the Oreo case, the question would be, I guess the devil's advocate other side of it is, am I ripping you off or am I competing with you in the marketplace?
Yeah.
If you truly were making a superior product that tasted better, that was a higher quality, then consumers would care enough to go seek out your brand, even knowing that my brand was here competing with yours. And so as long as if a consumer is not being deceived into buying my product thinking it's your product, if all it is they recognize they like chocolate sandwich cookies, I'm also selling a chocolate sandwich cookie and they're willing to give it a try, if they end up liking it better, then you should make a better chocolate sandwich cookie if you want to outsell me, as opposed to just suing me because I'm also selling mine in a blue package.
Well, it is fascinating. Melanie King, we really appreciate your insight. And let's not forget, in 2021, Lululemon sued Peloton for allegedly making similar-looking apparel. 2 years later, the companies patched up their relationship and then partnered to sell branded clothing. So, Melanie, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
When it comes to mortgage lenders, I know you have no shortage of options. But are you working with someone local who can truly simplify the process? I'm David Goldberg with the Goldberg Group, and as a St. Louis home purchase expert, I know this market inside and out. I specialize in tough-to-complete situations for borrowers who are self-employed, looking to buy and sell at the same time, and may have been turned down somewhere else. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or seasoned homeowner, you can trust me with all of your home financing needs. Call or text me at 314-471-4030. 314-471-4030.
You. Yeah, you. Did you miss your favorite KTRS show? Good news. Log on to the all-new KTRS.com and click on the podcast button to catch up on everything 550. The Big 550. Listen on your schedule and don't miss any of the live and local programming KTRS has been delivering for 29 years. The Big 550. The all-new KTRS.com. Click on the podcast button. The talk of St. Louis. Depend on it.
Do you have the option to control your cash flow and wealth? Are you getting a return on your greatest asset, your lifetime and potential generational income? Overcome these critical financial planning challenges by discovering the Control Option Mindset featuring the Lifetime and Generational Income Maximizer. Call Mark Benson and his team at the Control Option at 314-432-9540 or online at thecontroloptionmindset.com.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Before we get to ABC's legal analyst, Royal Oaks, we got to get to Captain Paul and get a little traffic.
Heidi, no accidents, but southbound 270 bogs down at Olive and Ladue and is heavy down to 64. Southbound 170 congested from Delmar down to 64. Southbound 55 is running slow at South Broadway. Eastbound 64 bogs down from 170 to near Big Bend. And westbound 64 is crowded in front of Forest Park and from 364 to the 6470 merge. This traffic report is brought to you by Dents Express. If the recent storms have you saying, oh, hail, bring your car, truck, SUV, or van to Dents Express for a free hail damage repair evaluation. Dents Express will have your ride looking like new again, and they'll even take care of the insurance paperwork. That's Dents Express at dentsexpressstl.com. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Well, the jury came down with a split verdict. Sean Diddy Combs was convicted of prostitution-related offenses, but acquitted of sex trafficking and racketeering. Royal Oaks, ABC News legal analyst in L.A., joins us to kind of break all of this down. I mean, sex trafficking and racketeering, those were the big charges. Did the prosecution go too big? Was racketeering too much?
That's the consensus. Of course, the jury may talk. We may know what went through their heads, but yeah, a lot of folks felt that racketeering is just it's a situation where you have people who are gangsters, John Gotti types, but that was an overcharge. So what a difference a day makes. Yesterday, Diddy thought that maybe there was going to be a second trial on racketeering, and now He finds that that's good news, but he could go to jail probably for about 4 years on the prostitution counts.
Wow. So when we're talking racketeering charges like that, I was listening to somebody else say that, well, maybe they charged him with racketeering so they could get more on the other issues. Does racketeering, when you are trying that, is there a different rule?
Yeah, when you go after somebody for racketeering, what you try to do is show that they're at the very pinnacle, the top of the pyramid. They didn't get their hands dirty necessarily, but they had lieutenants who knew to commit bad deeds. In years past, when this law was passed in the 70s, they wanted to go after the kingpins. But Diddy didn't fit that pattern, really. I mean, he did all the bad stuff himself. We saw it on video. And so the bottom line is that I think the jury rejected that, and sex trafficking, that's for people that are kidnapped and chained to beds in a Miami brothel. Nothing against Miami, but, that was not Diddy's situation.
Yeah, but there's transporting someone for the purposes of sex. How is transporting different than trafficking?
Well, transporting is simply taking folks across the line, even if they are happy to be gainfully employed as a prostitute, whereas trafficking is where basically you're kidnapping them and you're coercing them and threatening them. So it's an even bigger and worse thing.
Royal, the judge has denied him bail. Did you agree with that? And what is the judge looking at when he denies bail in this case?
Yeah, in the great majority of cases, if you're convicted of an offense where there's some violence in your past, there is here, and a prostitution offense, the judge says, nice try, but, you're going to cool your heels in jail pending your appeal, and that's what happened about an hour ago in Combs' case. He gave it the old college try, saying, hey, I'll post $1 million bond, and I ain't going anywhere. I'm not going to flee on a private jet. Well, probably not. Didn't want to bunk in with Roman Polanski in Switzerland. But the judge said no. But now the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, they could come to the rescue. They might let him out on appeal if they think he has a strong argument on appeal. We'll have to wait for that.
How long does that take?
Oh, he'll go in right away to the Second Circuit and say, it's just not fair. If he's got a strong argument on appeal, let him out. But I wouldn't bet on that chance either.
And then when does sentencing take place, and what kind of years are we looking at maybe?
Yeah, in about 3 months, there'll be a hearing, and although theoretically he could get 20 years, the betting is he'll get about 4 because the guidelines knock it way down. It's his first offense.
Got it. And then he can go back to doing, not the things that obviously the freak-offs, but as far as being a music executive and a reality TV star, if people are willing to hire him, he goes back to life as normal.
He could. I think most people are speculating that after that horrible beating video from 2016, where he was viciously beating Cassie Ventura, he could find it difficult to get back in the saddle and recreate his big hip-hop career.
So I wanted to ask you about the video, and maybe you know this just from all your experience of being a lawyer and everything. That video was from like 8 years ago. It surfaced, 2 years ago. Was that video lying around somewhere, or does this hotel have 8 years worth of video?
Yeah, what happened was that immediately after he was told years ago that the video existed, he basically bribed a security guard at the Hotel Intercontinental in Century City in Los Angeles, and he got a copy of the video, but he didn't know there was another one floating around. Somehow CNN got it, and some time ago aired it. And, of course, then there was the Cassie Ventura lawsuit settled for $20 million. And then the whole world got to see it, courtesy of CNN.
And now can Cassie go after him in a civil suit, or it is done?
She settled her suit for $20 million, but a lot of other women have sued, are contemplating suing, and so he's probably going to be writing a bunch of checks from jail to get out from under that litigation.
And when they were talking about flight risk of him earlier, I seem to remember when this first happened and his place in Miami got raided, his jet ended up in Turks and Caicos or somewhere, but they found Diddy actually at the airport. So it almost sounded like he wanted to run away, and maybe his lawyer said, do not do that. Does that take into account when the judge says flight risk or not?
Yeah, absolutely. And although I don't think the judge mentioned that today in his decision probably figured he didn't need it, since it was kind of a no-brainer to say, no, you're right. That's a good point. That would be another nail in his coffin in terms of being let out.
Well, Royal Oaks, ABC News legal analyst, thank you so much for walking us through all of this. We appreciate it. We know it's been a busy day for you.
You bet. Thank you.
And now, KTRS weather from the John Beal Roofing Weather Desk.
Be a nice evening, a little on the warm side, but not overly humid. But that humidity will be building over the next few days, along with temperatures. Overnight tonight, the lows dipping down into the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. On Thursday, the high temperature about 92 under sunny skies, a little bit more humid, so the heat index up to 94. And the actual temperature on the 4th of July should be about 94 degrees with a heat index of 99. But we don't expect any rain across the area until probably Sunday. In the KMOV First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kent Earhart for the Big 550 KTRS.
John Beal Roofing is the home of the lowest price roofing guarantee. Get a free estimate today at johnbealroofing.com.
You know what they say, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, and windows and doors are usually that first impression when it comes to your home. Dalco Home Remodeling custom makes their windows and doors, and better yet, they make them here in Missouri. Dalco Home Remodeling is locally and family owned, celebrating 50 years, so they know a thing or two. The Dalco team is known for quality and customer satisfaction. That's the way it was 50 years ago when they started, and that's still true today. So if you're looking to change the look of your home without breaking the bank, call Dalco Home Remodeling. They do free in-home estimates. Just call 314-298-7300 and make an appointment. You can also check them out online at dalcohomeremodeling.com. As they've always said, if you buy somewhere else and find out how much you could have saved at Dalco, you'll blow your stack. So call Dalco first, 314-298-7300.
Electricity is very important, because if you don't have electricity, you're sitting in the dark in more ways than one. And when the lights go out for one last time, maybe, just maybe, you want a whole home generator. Well, that's where Michael Baldy comes in, because Michael Baldy can do that. He's putting in a whole home generator for a friend of mine on the hill. Whether you live on the hill or a brand new home, at some point you're going to need some electrical help, and that's where Michael Baldy comes in. He's been an electrician since 1996, and he has a full team of electricians who will help you
at Sea. It premieres Monday night. It's a 4-parter about the Hallmark superfans who went on the very first Christmas cruise last November. There will also be a TV premiere of the Unwrapping Christmas film series. It's a collection of 4 movies that were originally only available to stream on Hallmark Plus, and then there's another Hallmark Plus exclusive coming to TV. It's an 8-episode limited series called Holidays.
Okay, so we're running a Christmas promo.
Yes.
Christmas in July promo. Come out and see The Sandlot and donate a toy and all that stuff. It's for a good cause. Does anybody want to watch Christmas movies, though, right now?
Probably. Kelly Jackson loves Hallmark. She's probably watching some of them. Yeah.
I legitimately think to watch this, you got to be in the mood.
I'm
you
going
got
to
to be in the spirit.
Josh, there's enough research. People are watching them, or they would not do it.
Home Alone is my favorite movie. I don't think I would care to watch it right now.
Okay. That's you.
It is.
But there are a lot of people that are going to watch. Jennifer Aniston, a lot of people will watch this too, is going to star in a TV series based on I'm Glad My Mom Died, the autobiography of iCarly star Jeanette McCurdy. I've never read it, so I don't really know much about it, but I think Jennifer Aniston's going to be a producer on it as well.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So she's going to be busy.
I remember when that book came out.
Mm-hmm.
That was...
The title alone is...
Yeah, right. That grabbed you.
It sure does. FX has renewed The Bear for its 5th season. You said yesterday that a lot of people are saying this 4th season, it's back.
Yeah, and we watched the first episode, and I was, I'm starting to ease back into it.
I don't remember how 4 or 3 ended.
I'll just say this about The Bear. You can only take so much.
Oh, yeah, it's intense.
Of that intensity and these people self-destructing.
Yes.
It's like I can only watch a couple of Curb Your Enthusiasms at a time because Larry just makes me so mad. The Curb Your Enthusiasm, 90% of that show would be moot if Larry just said, "Excuse me."
Yeah.
Or, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Isn't that interesting? That's the same way, though, Handmaid's Tale is so heavy. It's such a tough topic. Like, you watch one and you're like, okay, I need to take a break from
Let's go get ice cream or something.
But, a lot of people who actually work in the restaurant industry, they can't watch The Bear. Or if they used to, because it's triggering. Because it's so real if they're back in the kitchen.
I could say maybe if you're back in the kitchen, you could have a little PTSD.
Yeah,
so
that's
to speak.
what they're saying.
But I watch it as something fun. I never took waiting tables that seriously.
Well, you don't take anything that seriously.
Right.
I'm still trying to decide if you're taking parenting seriously.
Jury's out. Still.
Yeah, I know. Charlize Theron spoke to Alex Cooper on a recent episode of the Call Your Daddy podcast, and she got candid about her views on dating and being a single mom, saying, I don't think that dating somebody in my industry is a smart thing. Having tried dating recently...
Wait. Is radio and...
You're married.
Is that the same industry?
You're married. She said that recently, I can tell you that no man's moving into our house while my daughters are there. And as for dating apps, she did not hold back. And this is what I love about her. We were talking about cool. She said, it's a clown show. I'm sorry, guys, but please, no. Her turnoffs are specific. No Burning Man photos, no photos of you with other women. I don't want you shooting a selfie in your closet of your hand in a jean pocket.
Yeah.
So... I think that's pretty funny.
So she's always said, men are intimidated by me. They never ask me out. Mm-hmm. That's been her thing for 15
you can understand.
Years now. I can totally understand. Has she ever dated Sean Penn?
Yeah.
Right?
She dated Sean Penn. Yeah.
Anybody else that was of
famous?
Note or famous or anybody?
I'm sure there have been. She goes on to talk about her other encounters, but I can't get into that here.
And I understand what she's saying about no man is moving into my house while my girls, my daughters, my kids are still there. But there's been plenty of blended families.
Oh, yeah.
That have made a go at it. To Charlize, don't be too guarded.
Well, are you giving advice now?
Yeah, I am. Let love happen, okay?
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Call me.
Again, you're married. Travis Kelce said the hardest part of hosting Saturday Night Live was he's a guy who can't read really well. He said he felt like he was just trying to get through the reading instead of acting it out and giving it a voice and giving it a character, things like that. He was just focused on don't skip this line. He said the table read was the hardest part of the whole experience. I love that he's being open about that.
And as somebody who watched, how many episodes did he do? You could never tell.
Mm-mm.
He was great.
He was fantastic. First, Beyonce got stuck in the flying car. Now Katy Perry got stuck in a flying metal ball. Lights went down, and they had to stop the show and go get her. So I don't know what's happening there. But
Do you think on this tour, Left Shark makes an appearance?
I hope
Remember
not.
him?
Yes. Who could forget?
I loved the Sharks.
Yeah. And Willie Nelson had to cancel a tour stop on the Outlaw Music Festival. They were just here after extreme weather destroyed equipment and soaked their instruments. The tour is expected to pick back up in Austin on July 4th, so that's kind of scary. If you're looking for something to watch tonight, Heads of State is on Amazon. That's an action comedy with John Cena and Idris Elba. The Old Guard, too, speaking of Charlize Theron, that's on Netflix. She returns as the leader of a team of immortal warriors protecting the world, so could be interesting. And then this I thought looked interesting. Dear Miss, A Revolution in Print is on HBO. It's a documentary about the magazine and the contribution to the women's liberation movement. And, of course, now in theaters, you've got Jurassic World Rebirth, the fourth Jurassic World movie in the Jurassic Park franchise.
You know what I like about Charlize Theron?
Tell me.
Is that she'll do a movie like Monster, which is an independent movie. She did no makeup, whatever. She'll do art house stuff. She'll do...
I mean, she did win the Oscar for that.
Right. She'll do rom-coms.
Mhm.
She'll do Mad Max. She'll do,
She's adventurous.
these action movies.
Is that the only thing you like about her?
It's not the only. Have you seen that? J'adore.
I think everyone has.
J'adore.
Yeah. Birthdays today. Margot Robbie, Barbie, is 35. Lindsay Lohan is 39. The before mentioned Larry David, 78.
Oh.
How about this? I never knew her name. Polly Holiday, who played Flo on Alice, Kiss My Grits. She's 88, and so is Richard Petty. And that, my friends, is your evening entertainment report here on the Big 550 KTRS St. Louis. It is 10 minutes before 6. Let's check in with Captain Paul for one final look at traffic.
Heidi, southbound 270 is heavy, but on the move from Maryland Heights down to South County. Southbound 170 congested from Ladue Road down to 64. Eastbound 64 bogs down at 170, but opens up at Big Bend. And westbound 64 is crowded in front of Forest Park, and from 364 to the 6470 interchange. This traffic report is brought to you by Neighbors Credit Union. If you're ready to upsize, downsize, or first-time home buy, turn to the team at Neighbors Credit Union. At Neighbors Credit Union, you'll find great rates, expert advice, and personalized friendly service throughout the entire home loan process and beyond. That's just what you'd expect from a great neighbor. Apply online today at neighborscu.org. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Dr. Joe, it can get very confusing, but the one thing we need to know is GLP-1, right? That's the magic cure.
Yeah, they're on the med, and these medications are used, these GLP-1s, for reducing inflammation in your body. I get so many folks that are like, wow, I don't have the knee pain. I don't have the...
Because once you start losing weight, all these other things naturally happen to you in a positive way. Not just talk about the deals for KTRS listeners at stlmedweightloss.com.
All KTRS listeners, they get $50 to $100 off their first month. And what's beautiful about it too, hey, I get it. The economy, what we just had, guys, things are difficult right now, but we make the plan work for you. We have financing options. We make this work for you because we realize how important it is to get down in your weight, get your confidence back, and really start feeling like the old you.
Call stlmedweightloss.com and ask Dr. Joe. stlmedweightloss.com. Do you know why right now is the absolute best time to book your new patio or deck with my friends at Outdoor Living? Aside from being the best in town, these guys are really smart. They pay attention to market conditions, and they've stocked up on patio and deck supplies, including steel, all before these tariffs kicked in. So while their competitors' pricing has gone through the roof, Prices have never been better at Outdoor Living. Now is the best time to call and book your summer job. Not to mention, these same competitors have sold out.
Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
All right, let's wrap this show up with a couple randoms.
But you know, we love history here, and I love this one. Zachary Taylor was president, and he was speaking at Dolly Madison's funeral. He coined the term First Lady.
He did.
So I guess when Dolly Madison was actually First Lady, no one ever called her that.
Yeah, but ever since.
And then we'll, at some point, someday, we'll get a first man?
Gentleman.
First gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Heidi. And Howard Johnson Hotels. Remember Hojo?
Oh, yeah.
They're a luxury
Is
brand.
that the we'll leave the light on for you?
No, that was Motel 6.
Oh, yeah.
Howard Johnson Hojo is a luxury brand in China. They're all 4 or 5-star hotels over there.
Interesting. I wonder why there and not here.
Well, they steal all of our IP, so it might not have anything to do with the Howard Johnson people.
Well,
that's just
great
what they
point.
call them.
You guys, that does it for us. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Wednesday afternoon. We'll be back to do it all over again tomorrow, starting at 3 o'clock. I hope you'll join us. And until then, see if you can put a smile on somebody's face.